Hi, everyone. So I'm just going to go through a quick lecture on ancient Greece and really more so the origins of the Greek people. We're going to look at two different civilizations that are going to help guide us. As we do this, we want to make sure that we focus on our two learning goals here in the religion unit. How does religion try to shape human behavior, and what is the relationship between religion and power in some way? Also, quick reminder, please make sure that you complete your Cornell notes at the conclusion of this lecture and after you have finished taking down your notes as best you can. If you have questions, please let me know. Today's edition, N justifies the memes, just kind of a play on the fact that now as humans we use emojis to do all kinds of ridiculous things. All right. In looking at the Greek civilization, we first have to look at two groups, the Minoans and the Mycenaeans, and see how they fit together. So if you look here, we have the island of Crete. This is where the Minoans are going to be located. Then over here on the Peloponnesus, this peninsula here, is the city of Mycenae, and that's where the Mycenaeans are going to be located. This is more of an ancient map. You can see, based on the use of those two particular terms, that this is no longer in play at this point. Where's Greece located today? Great question. Right here. Mediterranean Sea, just to the east of Italy. You got the Adriatic Sea running right in between them here. The Minoans themselves, located on Crete, we actually don't know what they call themselves. We've never been able to decipher their language, and as a result, we named them after the mythical king Minos, who supposedly had his labyrinth placed on the island of Crete itself and would have the 7 Athenian males and females sacrificed on a sort of annual basis in an effort to feed the Minotaur himself. So the story of Theseus and the Minotaur is coming out of this, and that's what we use to actually name them. Going back here, we want to look at this capital city of Gnosis, some interesting archaeological finds here. This is after taking a peek at the archaeology itself. This is a map based on the information that we have found there. And if you look, it's kind of confusing, and that point is driven home by this next shot. You have an artist's rendition. It's different levels. You have multiple courtyards. It's difficult to get from one place to another unless you know what you're doing. Almost like it's a maze. Almost like it's a labyrinth. Good job, kids. As we take a look, this is the actual current site today. You can take a look and still see some of the remnants of those different levels. You can't walk on the site any longer, but you can still visit and go to see the outer reaches of the site itself, which is pretty cool. So we have a nice connection between archaeological evidence, historical evidence, and religion or mythology. And so seeing how those things tie together is always a good way to look at the importance of religion to a group of people. Another important piece of their religion is going to surround bulls. So we have already the myth of the Minotaur. We also have the Cretan bull from Heracles' 12 Labors. And here we have bull leaping. This is from an image that was taken from the palace at Gnosis, its excavation. Bull leaping pretty much is what you see here. You have a person leaping over the top of a bull. And it's like gymnastics, but we want to remember that there's a religious component to all of this. And so it's ritualistic in nature, not just a sport to win. Mycenaeans, located southern Greece on the Peloponnesus, near where we would find Sparta. And named after the city of Mycenae, it's the largest city. It's the one that's kind of running the show in terms of all these collection of city-states there. And the origins of the Mycenaeans, they're coming from eastern Russia about 900 years or so after the Minoan civilization begins. The Minoan civilization kind of disappears. We're not exactly sure what happened to it, but we think because of the transfer of culture that some of the Minoan civilization makes its way over to mainland, and you have these two civilizations around they overlap a little bit. And if we think back to what civilizations need, especially if those civilizations don't have a lot of natural resources, it makes a lot of sense that these two civilizations would have interacted. You have one on an island and you have another with really, really rocky soil. So these civilizations, these people, there's probably going to be some sort of transference of culture and skill. The Mycenaeans themselves, as I mentioned, trading. Trading is incredibly important to both of these civilizations. Olives used for cooking, used for fuel, the oil itself used for trade. And so trading the olive oil really, really makes them rich. It makes them a powerful civilization. Besides the olives, not much else, as you'll see in a minute. It makes a lot of sense when we look at the ground. But that gives us the influence of trade on the people. It also, and this is just a general rule of thumb, you can think if you have any siblings, the more you're together, the odds are the more likely there's going to be a disagreement at some point in time. Same thing goes for the Mycenaeans, and they were no stranger to that. So they had to ensure that they were able to back things up, make sure that they were able to protect their trading investments. We have olive trees here. You can see the soil, pretty rocky, pretty sandy, not great for farming, but the production of olives will really enhance that civilization. So again, here we have Greece. We look at it right there, just as a reminder. And this is an excerpt from the textbook. You can feel free to go ahead and pause this. We'd be reading this in class if we were able to. And what I'd like you to do in your notes is just try to sketch out what you think the Greek city-state basically looks like. By doing that, include some of the elements from this particular reading. And then the last paragraph there is going to get us prepped for the next lesson that we have, taking a look at similarities and differences between Athens and Sparta. As always, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to let me know. Thank you very much and have a great day.